for taking time. Apologize for taking so much. I want to introduce today's speaker. So today we have guest of Honor TechTalk Series. It's a May webinar, Dr. Aslan Bulekbay. So Dr. Aslan Bulekbay is a PhD. He's an operational advisor at ADNOC Group, United Arab Emirates, former vice president of Kazatomprom, Kazgeology, and Saudi Aramco. Dr. Bulekbay is a seasoned petroleum engineer with 2 decades of experience specializing in production energy, reservoir management, and operational optimization. He's inventor of 2 US patents and author of 12 technical papers. And he's accomplished including optimization production of depletion reservoirs in Kazakhstan, Romania, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain. Aslan is also founder of Alash Energy Service. I've got his PhD in Petroleum Engineering and Robert Gordon University. So today he will discuss the transition from academic thinking to applied R&D and the process of transforming ideas in a patent and how this innovation evolved into real-world technologies and business opportunities, particularly in mining, oil, and gas. Please welcome Dr. Aslan Bulekbay. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Ramzan. I think this information is slightly exaggerated. I never been a person, that kind of smartest person in the room or the most educated. Let me share my screen with you. So we go to the actual. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
I think the information there is slightly outdated. But along the presentation, I think we will get a more updated version of what currently I'm doing in the moment is, So I grew up, I was born in Karaganda, but I grew up in a village in Karaganda region, Zanarka district, the village called the Jenis. So that's where I came from. So you can see my childhood picture. After that, I went into Kazakh Turkish school and then university, master's, PhD. At the same time, I was always working. So I guess here is the takeaway is it's not important where you start, but probably how you think, and what you should think of. After that, I did some time at Kazgeology, advisor to minister, and then transitioned to more into international, where I worked in Vienna for OMV, then Saudi Aramco, 6 years in Aramco. Then pursued my PhD. After PhD, I joined Kazatomprom as a chief operating officer. Kazatomprom is the world's largest uranium mining company. And then from there, I worked about maybe 8 months. I couldn't, kind of blend into our Kazakh culture after so many years being abroad. So I started pursuing something outside of Kazakhstan again, and joined a company called ADNOC, as an advisor. So, and then after some time, there is still always inside me, the boy from that village, that always wants to kind of add value to own country, to own people. So I started a company called Alash Energy Services, which focuses on energy services in mining, especially, and oil and gas. And then I started a company in Canada called Exploring. It's basically exploration and mining company for gold, copper, and uranium as well. What is the big mission? The goal is basically export technologies, invent them in Kazakhstan, test them in Kazakhstan, and then bring it to Middle East and to the world. I started this company about 2.5 years ago. So far, the track record is about revenues about $3 million US. The good thing is, from the idea to patent and field deployment, it takes about 8 months. Currently, there are 12 ideas that are patented and then field trialed. What are the particular technologies that we developed? For instance, the first one is format fracturing methodology specially designed for depleted oil and gas fields. We also developed with our team world's first enhanced NCP leaching technology for uranium mining. We also developed a corn leaching methodology. Basically, we derive from corn oxalic acid and use the oxalic acid to leach the metals, especially the critical minerals that are currently in high demand. And it's going to be world's first environmentally friendly, low-cost leaching methodology. We also developed a special chemical blend, specially designed for reducing the water and improving the oil production. We also developed the world's first multi-planar production enhancement methodology that is trial tested in Kazakhstan first and currently being implemented in Kazakhstan. Basically, you can convert any vertical well, convert it to like a horizontal, so you can increase the production. We also developed in-house AI-based hyperspectral satellite exploration method that you can find minerals without actually stepping your foot on the ground, from satellite images. Maybe just give you an idea, why these industries. I think most of the time when we do the PhD research, we go into this rabbit hole, we go into this 3 to 5 year marathon, and you basically deep dive into the topic itself and try to add value by finding some new novelty, right? At least nobody looked. But whatever we study, I think most important is what is the value it's going to bring first to your home country and then to the world, to humanity. So I always look at the perspective of Kazakhstan and Central Asia. For instance, if you look at that Kazakhstan, we have a lot of natural resources, but at the same time, it's a challenge. For instance, in Kazakhstan, if you know, only 26% of Kazakhstan's geology has been studied. The rest is still unknown, especially if you go beyond the 100 meters from the surface of the ground. The second challenge is there is a reduction in investment, especially in exploration, is declining for the last 5 years. So there is a challenge is basically while we are producing copper, uranium, oil, gas, we are not replacing it with new discoveries. So we are in low in terms of a replacement ratio. And then the fourth challenge is it takes, for instance, to find a good gold deposit, it takes 3 to 5 years just to find it, explore it properly, and then to put it to production. So as a Kazakhstan and Central Asia, we must find new deposits or optimize existing deposits very fast. So that's the challenge, I see for Kazakhstan, and all my R&D work and my PhD was around this. How I can add value to my country, to the world, to humanity by trying to solve the biggest challenges we have. I think last year we presented this in digital Almaty. So let me just briefly take you to the first technology, the AI-powered satellite exploration. What you see on the top is a conventional approach, how you basically find mineral deposits. So first you do regional study, then delineate the area, then you do the field survey, magnetic or resistivity, then you take samples, drilled wells, geological map, and then identify basically target. So that usually takes about 2 years, plus minus. What we do is basically first we do regional study, quick one, and then use the satellite images, interpret the hyperspectral, and then map it, send a person to the field, take the surface samples, confirm it, and then apply for the license. And that takes us about plus minus 4 to 6 months. So you can reduce the discovery time from 2 years to 6 months, plus minus. So we have in-house AI specialists as well and geologists as well. So this is a typical framework. Using the same framework currently, the company I own have 6 licenses in Kazakhstan, where we are basically discovered gold, copper, and also we also now producing gold in Zimbabwe. We are also entering other African countries and Mongolia as well, using the same concept, same framework, yeah, which is basically much faster and much more accurate than conventional methods people are using now. So this is the first thing. The second thing, you know that Kazakhstan's economy, yeah, I think our GDP, 65% of GDP comes from oil and gas. And the oil and gas industry of Kazakhstan, yeah, consists mainly of 2 different type of companies. The first ones are the big ones, the giants like Kashagan, Tengiz, and Karachaganak. And then the rest are small and mature oil fields where we are currently facing a lot of challenges, such as depletion of the reserves, increase of the water production. When you have this kind of situation, your cost of unit to produce 1 barrel of oil becomes much more expensive. When it becomes much more expensive, you have to, at some point, shut your wells, get rid of your costs, reduce your costs. Basically, 40% of the cost usually comes from the overhead. You have to fire people. And most of the oil and gas fields, as you know, in Kazakhstan, located in the western part of Kazakhstan, which is basically sensitive area. So how to add value with my research in this situation? So the first target is basically improve the production, reduce the water, right? So we developed, for instance, one technology. Last year we presented it to Society of Petroleum Engineers. We developed technology called the Shanrah fracturing. Shanrah is the what you see here in the picture is the central part of the Kazakh root. It's a symbol of unity, strength. In Kazakh culture, we have even like duas, the wishes, yeah, saying basically Shanrah big person, or let this Shanrah be high. It means that your unity and strength is high for your family and for yourself, yeah. So basically, we took that name. The concept is basically this is a conventional method where we enhance production using technology called hydraulic fracturing. That's the technology that currently behind, for instance, U.S. shale oil and gas revolution. Yeah, as you know, U.S. Is now producing world's is the number 1 oil and gas producer in the world currently. But if you look at 10 years back, they used to import about half of their daily consumption. So they took a very big turn when went into unconventional shale and tight oil and gas using 2 technologies. First is horizontal wells, drilling horizontal wells. The second is the hydraulic fracturing. So hydraulic fracturing is a method that you man-made way of placing higher permeability rock inside the reservoir below, let's say, ground at 2,000 and beyond meters down in the earth. So conventionally, it's 2 wings like this, what you see in the picture. It's a planar vertical. The direction of it is dictated by a geomechanical concept called horizontal stresses. Basically, the mass of the rock that overlays the production zone creates 2 horizontal stresses in that particular plane, dictated by the tectonics, the geology of the region. Yeah. So the concept is basically take this, convert it to something like this, where you have a multi-planar structures that enhances the production. What is the benefit? Basically, you improve the drainage. You basically have now more contact with the reservoir. So where you have a more contact with the reservoir, now you have to drill less number of the wells. From the same well, you can increase the production at least 2 times and more. So basically, you can convert theoretically any vertical well converted to like horizontal well. So this was the initial concept. Then we did the background work, the same work you do during your PhD. You do like a literature review. So we did also, initially you have a concept and idea, and then you do your literature review. So this has been seen in the lab when initially they take a piece of rock and then drill a hole in the middle and then increase the pressure. The first frac is created, the fracture is created. When it creates the stress anisotropy. It's basically you disturb the rock and create this shadow around that particular crack. And then when you try to do second one, it has to twist 90 degree, change the plane. So that's how conceptually that was being written previously in the industry. It has been seen in the lab, but nobody did actual in a well or tried it in actual life real case scenarios. Yeah. So what you see here is the side view, top view. So from this is the drainage where it pulls the oil from. The idea was to convert it to something like this. Yeah. So to validate it, we put special sensors called geophones. Basically, it listens to seismic events down in the earth. So you can map the actual, if it's happening or not. So this is the method of diagnosing. The second method is the downhole gauges. Every time we do this, you have to see this difference in the pressure. So this was the formation that we did. We modeled it and then implemented it in the field. This is the pressure gauges that you see. And then this is the microseismic events. And we proved that it's actually, you get this multi-planar event like in a Sharma. Yeah. So this well, particularly before the operation was 0. And then after operation, it improved 9 times more than what it was before. Yeah. So this is the concept that was initially developed as an idea in Kazakhstan, patented currently in Kazakhstan, and currently being expanded inside Kazakhstan. But also we are taking it to Middle East, this technology as well. Yeah. Let me go back to the presentation. So what are the methods then? Yeah. So first, find the big elephant. Like what's the biggest problem? For instance, in Kazakhstan, oil and gas is 65% of the GDP, and then 75% of the oil fields are getting now older and more mature. How we can solve it? Yeah. Find the recurring problem, document it properly, study it deeply, and then isolate one element, yeah, from that documented problem. Then, basically, we do the same R&D that you currently doing for your PhD, for instance, yeah. But it has to be not like a marathon, but it has to be like more of a sprint, yeah. So from the initial idea to your literature review and then some tests, it has to be within a couple of months. You cannot do a 3-year project. Yeah, because by the year number 3, conditions are changing in the reservoir inside of mine, so it may be not more about anymore. Yeah, so you have to be very quick, and then of course patent your idea or initial lab report results as a patent, and then execute. Fail fast, learn fast, repeat the cycle. So this is the hard way of doing things, like a mechanics of how you're doing things. But there is also another part because you're working with your mind, right, with your brain. There are 13 conditions that work in my case. What you see here is the Yerkes-Dodson law. Basically, you have to push yourself to get maximum out of your brain. Yeah, but there is a optimal zone, yeah, where you stress your brain on a problem a certain way, because our brain is very interesting piece of a tool, I would say. When you push it to a certain limit and then change what you are doing completely, your brain still works on the problem on your background. Despite, let's say, you work on a problem to a certain level, but it has to be at least 1 hour or 2. Yeah, you try to solve it. But then you start, let's say, playing on a music instrument, or take a shower, or go to the gym while you are doing something completely different. Your brain still works on the background. Yeah. So it's important to push yourself to a certain level and then change what you are doing. And then you have to cycle it throughout the day, at least 2-3 times a day. Yeah. Then I think most of the people can find a solution. Yeah. Like a eureka moment. For instance, Newton, apple falls in his head, or Archimedes, yeah, while he's in the water, or Mendeleev when he's sleeping, during his dreaming, he sees the periodic table. So I think that's how it works. Yeah, that works at least for me. The second part is sleep well. That's very important. Why? Because when you sleep, your brain actually repairs itself. It structures the information. That's when you actually get most out of your brain. Rule number 3, exercise at least 20 minutes a day. Why? You need to get the blood flow going to your brain. Yeah? Otherwise, it will not work. Rule number 4, I think that's the most important one, is your mindset. Yeah. Why I'm doing this? The bigger the mindset, higher the goal, more energy and push you will have. Yeah. That's very, very important. Deep dive into yourself. Even sometimes you have to answer a question like who I am in this world. Yeah. So that's important. Last but not least, main takeaways. A PhD, it's not just a academic credential. Yeah, it's a platform, or is a way how to learn a framework to solve real world problems. Yeah, and that's, I think, is just a part of your life. Yeah, just a part of a small period of your life that later on you're going to build on top of it. Like look at Al-Farabi or Khwarizmi. They have been scholars, musicians, astronomers, mathematicians, as a one person. So I think that's possible. Yeah. So PhD is not just it's not your destination. It's just a launch pad. The second point is innovation creates value only when it moves from research into implementation to actual market. Yeah. So our scholars didn't just theorize. Yeah. They built systems that lasted. They actually built things that people use it during their lifetimes. Yeah. Point number 3, scientists can become builders of technologies, companies, industries, not just papers. Don't get stuck in this rabbit hole. Yeah. And use this your research as a way of giving back to your community, way of your service to your country, to your people. Yeah. So that's the last slide from me. So I'm open for questions and discussions. You can see some of my contacts and connect with me. Yeah. So that's it from my side.
Aslan, that was fantastic. So I personally did some research before today's talk. Also watched recent Aslan's talk to Abzal's podcast. And here today we have really deep dive on all these technologies that Aslan mentioned during his interview. I highly recommend this. Aslan, really appreciate your well-prepared presentation. And I guess we have a lot of questions today. So let's move to Q&A session, please. If you have question, please write in the chat box. Let me read some few questions that sent it. So Aslan, first question about innovation and patents. So as far as I know, you've been very extensively doing your research with Nazarbayev University. And here from audience, we have professors from Nazarbayev University as well. And what stage of technology development you usually involve academic partners? Early research, prototyping, or validation? Thank you.
I think I have to say this, yeah. A single university in Kazakhstan that has the technical capability in terms of lab equipment, in terms of the power, in terms of researchers, is the Nazarbayev University across Kazakhstan. I visited many other universities. I couldn't find anything that is capable of doing something like Nazarbayev University. This is number 1. Yeah. it has electronic microscopes, not just one. It has core flood equipment. It has XRFs, XRDs, X-ray equipment that is currently if not, let's say, utilization is really low. Yeah. So this is number one. Number two, it depends. So I have currently three R&D researchers going on with Nazarbayev University with different professors, and then at different stages. So usually I bring the idea, explain the concept, show them my literature review work, and then end goal. And then we dive into actual testing and then pivot if it's necessary as we get the lab results. Yeah. One of them is we are currently developing a special chemical that's going to create, that's going to be used to reduce the oil viscosity. Yeah, this is some very exciting work currently we're doing. Another work we are doing is related to mining. Yeah, it's going to be a new method to enhance leaching of the metals. Yeah. So it's not just only one professor that you do work. Yeah. So I think that's very important. We also did some work with Kazakh British Technical University, but it currently on either. I hope I answered you.
No. It was good, Aslan. Appreciate it. Second question from Dias, Norway. So Dias, can you unmute yourself and ask a question? Dias is a research scientist working in Norway. Also, I think a very close field, geoscience.
Yes, yeah. I just saw that Aslan shown that some of these either using the pressure gauges or the geophones to monitor the response from the subsurface. I was wondering if you ever considered using the fibers now, because that's something coming up. So have you ever any initiatives towards those?
Okay, so just to give everybody perspective, what is DAS? DAS means distributed acoustic sensing. Okay, that's what it stands DAS for. Usually, it's basically a fiber optic cable, the same that we use for internet data transmission. We put it inside an oil and gas well. We specially coat it with an enforcing material because fiber optic is not very good handling temperature. It gets burned, and then inside is basically, and then you cannot transmit the data. So we put inside a well to listen to a well. You can actually create a certain waves, acoustic waves, and you can listen what is happening. Also, there is a same fiber can be used for temperature sensing in real time. Okay, but the problem of that, first, is the cost of the fiber. Second, it has to be pre-installed in most of the cases inside the well. In Kazakhstan, is currently being used only in Kashagan, Tengiz, where they have capability to pay. But as you've seen, 75% of the oil and gas fields in Kazakhstan are currently at the late stage of their development. So they don't have enough cash to invest, into this kind of fancy technologies. Yeah. And there is currently being evolving technology called the distributed strain measurement using the same cables. You basically, it's currently happening in US where you basically try to identify microseismic events. Yeah. I know the professor who is doing it. Yeah. But in Kazakhstan, it's still early stage. I think if you can make it cheap, I think it can get a high scale deployment. You have to make it cheap, affordable. Yeah. Remember, in a business, there is always 4 P's: price, product itself, place, and promotion. You have to have 4 things to fly. Yeah. I hope I could answer your question, and yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Aslan. Yeah, it was very, also for us, it was very easy to understand what does it mean. Okay, well, let's jump to another question. Question from Omar. He's an assistant professor from Izu University. He's asking how many team members. As far as I know, you have a lot of agents, GPT agents working as a team. His question is how many team members do you have, and how does you get funding for projects?
So I found them myself. I put my own cash into this year. I tried going through a government route, applying for government funding, but I see different cases where, you know, in Kazakhstan, maybe involved with corruption and so on. I just gave up that route, yeah. So personally, it's been self-funded. And also, we basically apply for like R&D research for a private oil and gas companies. I think Mr. Berik is here. I saw him, yeah. Berik Turmagomedov, he's the one of the scientists and then practical petroleum engineers working for Korean National Oil Company. So we did some work with them as well, yeah. R&D work with them. So we basically self-fund or rely on private oil and gas company. How many people working? It varies from time to time. Currently, our staff has been reduced to 4 people. Yeah. This, for instance, Alash Energy Services. The concept is I don't want to own any capex heavy equipment. I want to move away from conventional oil energy services company mindset, where you are equipment heavy, overhead heavy. No, I want to be technology company. I don't want to be a conventional, you know, drilling company. It's too boring.
Thank you, Aslan. Yeah, I appreciate this insight. Yeah, exactly. I think it's much easier to use your own money, but oftentimes, like it's like kind of like you're lacking oxygen with your money,
Always.
and you're trying to push it.
Always. Yeah. I think that's the thing with the entrepreneurs. Yeah, you're always lacking cash, and
yeah,
you
exactly.
are always like pedaling. You know, like if you stop pedaling, you're gonna sink. So you have to keep going, man.
Yeah, I think it's the same things that Dostran from Cerebra he's explained, like he's using his own money and he's pushing maximum in order to survive. Okay, let's jump to another question. So we have 3 questions. Let's first, Khair, can you unmute yourself? So Khair, he's currently working in Netherlands. Also, I think very similar to your field. Yeah, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, Aslan Mirza. Сіздің мына подкасттың алдында сіздің де Energy Analytics'та подкасттарыңызды тыңдадым, и сіздің айтқан нәрселеріңіз прям откликается в душе, да, и осы жолы тоже, как вы сказали, ауылдан шығып и путь в мир, да. Вот, мой вопрос, как бы, на этом подкасте на этой сессии вы продали мне идею поступить на PhD, это было долго у меня в голове, Рахмет, и вопрос такой, как можно быть одновременно самозанятым, иметь свою компанию, учиться PhD, part-time, можно сказать, да, и еще и работать на компанию, да, и как здесь избежать конфликта интересов и еще как бы сохранить свое IP? Потому что в контрактах, особенно университет с работодателем, это сильно прописывается.
Да. Это вы должны negotiate с работодателем. Это первое. Второе, когда человек, то есть, если посмотреть на наших прадедов, да, это вот Аль-Фараби, даже не надо далеко идти, посмотрите на Сатпаева, да, Панаша Монтаевича. Он был геологом, он был ученым, он еще написал книгу на казахском языке по алгебре, да. И когда он работал в Сатпае, да, приходит новость, что его сестра умирает. Он берет машину с водителем, едет в Баянаул. По пути, когда он доезжает, оказывается, сестра уже умерла, и остались дети-сироты. 2 детей-сирот. Он их берет, тогда вот эти бортовые машины, закидывает на борт. Когда возвращается, он видит по пути, ашаршылық кезі, да, это. По пути видит еще детей-сирот. И он их всех подбирает, когда домой приезжает, там с ним вместе, кажется, 12 детей. И среди них он воспитает у себя вот это Хасатпай, да, в Инде воспитает этих детей, да. Среди них будет Шахмардан Есенов. Среди них будет еще ученый, который вот Алтнадамбу нашел, да. То есть это ответ на вас вопрос, как вы это все успеваете, да. Кто сказал, что я должен только одной вещью делать? Если я делаю effort, да, результат всегда за Всевышним. От меня только effort. Это, наверное, выходит, знаете, откуда? когда, ну, такой человек верующий, сори, может быть, это чуть-чуть, это же такой mindset вещь, да, которая, это ваша операционная система, да, которую многие не берут в счет. Хотя это самое важное. Это самое важное. Это ваш внутренний стержень, который делает, драйвит все, да. Вот я верю в такое. Когда вот, если я верю в такой концепт, когда Всевышний создал первого человека, Адама, алейхиссалям, да, он сказал всем мирозданиям: сделайте земной поклон. Смотрите, какое совершенное существо я создал. Все поклонились, кроме дьявола. Он сказал: он из грязи, вот этот, кого ты создал, а я из огня, я самый умный, а этот никчемный, он грязь. И задача дьявола нашептывать человеку в процессе всей его жизни, что у него ничего не получится, что у него того нету, этого нету, другого нету, знакомых нету, денег нету, времени нету. Понимаете? И здесь важно не слышать это. Просто что у тебя перед тобой стоит, экзекьютить. Просто делай. А результат это всегда за Всевышним. А connecting dots это будет потом, да, в процессе жизни. И здесь важно не ограничивать себя сам. Кто делает больше всего вреда? Не сами себе. И здесь важно не делать этот вред. Просто делать, да. Просто экзекьютить.
Супер.
И ничего нету такого, чтобы там, вас, по сути, ограничивало. Да? Это все прописывается, договаривается. Есть legal department, с кем вы прописываете во время хайринга. Когда я, допустим, устраивался в ADNOC, эти компании уже у меня были. Я просто задекларирую. Это когда ты заполняешь, вот у меня уже есть 2 компании. Я по-любому буду, я не могу их оставить. То есть, да. И если там интеллектуальная собственность, если это связано с деятельностью компании, где я использую их ресурсы, это другой разговор. Вот когда я работал в Арамко, 12 патентов было там. Если вы их посмотрите, они принадлежат, по идее, Арамко. Но у меня есть там прописано, если идет коммерциализация, какой-то шейр не идет все равно. Ну, там небольшие там деньги, там, $200 в месяц, все равно, да. То есть такое тоже возможно, да. Ну, быть ученым, быть PhD – это, по идее, ответственность. Почему? Какая ответственность? Представляете, у вас есть доступ к информации, доступ к ресурсам, да, которые завтра вам придется отвечать за это. Иначе какая разница от, там, я не знаю, верблюда, которого нагрузили знаниями, да, он просто тащит это вниз. То есть мы не должны быть просто там нагруженными, знаете, знаниями. Надо их экзекьютить, надо их применять. И эти применения должны приносить пользу обществу, семье, стране, родине. Это очень важно.
Золотые слова. Хайр, супер. Я думаю, Хайр, потом можно отдельно поговорить. Отличный вопрос. Тогда последние 2 вопроса. So, last 2 questions. So we have Arstanbek. Arstanbek, you can go straight. You can ask in English, Russian, Kazakh. Yeah, everything is fine. Yeah, please go unmute yourself and ask questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aslan. Thank you very much. Fantastic presentation. Just from the economics point of view, what were the key KPIs, Aslan, you used to measure success or failure of your technology application?
So first, you have every technology has a certain end goal, right? Let's say reduce the water. For instance, I can quickly share my screen, yeah? So, okay, maybe one of the technologies. Let me know if you see my screen. For instance, one of the technologies, yeah, is related to reducing water cut. You can actually measure it. Yeah, it's measurable. In engineering, all things are hard. Yeah, you can actually measure it. For instance, in this case, there is an oil and gas field in Kazakhstan where there is about 19,000 repair operations per year. Yeah, for 4,200 oil producing wells. And what we found out that most of the operations, more than half, are done at the high water cut wells. Yeah. So then if you're reducing this water cut, then you can improve the efficiency of the company, yeah, and increase the oil production. In this case, we basically took the cores, used different types of chemicals, our own proprietary blends. This is done, by the way, at Nazarbayev University, yeah. And then you can actually measure it. In this case, is basically we took the core permeability before the chemical treatment is for the water is 146 milliliter. After the treatment is 50 milliliter. So reduction is 68%. So you can measure it. If you reduce water cut more than 50%, technology works. As simple as that, yeah. So those are the hard KPIs we use usually, yeah. Like an actual measurable. It depends on the actual, technology or certain idea. There is no, let's say, one KPI that you can use for everything, yeah. At the end is the value. What is the value? From the value, you derive the KPI. I hope I could answer your question, yeah.
Thank you, Aslan. Yeah, great.
Okay, any more questions?
Yes, just a second. Yes, Kalanjan. Any other questions do we have?
So last question, please. So last question from Jambulat. Jambulat from Hungary. Jambulat, unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you. Last question.
Құрметті қонақтар, баршаңызға үлкен рахмет. Аслан мырза, өте керемет презентация болды. Енді сізді бұрыннан оқып жүрміз. Жастарға, мен сияқты жастарға біраз осындай мотивация бересіз, алға ұмтылуға, жаңа нәрселер табылған оқығанға. Сол осы мен енді шетелде біраз оқып жүрмін. Енді қазір енді Қазақстанда ары қарай енді карьерамда, жұмысымда жалғастырмақ ойдамын да. Сол себепті сізден сұрарым, бірінші кезекте да мысалға біраз теоретикалық білімі бар, бірақ 5 жылға дейін жұмыс тәжірибесі жоқ. Мысалға инженеринг, неше түрлі электрикал инженеринг, түрлі инженеринг оқыған адамға қалай осы Қазақстандағы осы мұнай компанияларына жұмысты бірінші қалай бастауға болады? Себебі көбінесе жұмыс тәжірибесін сұрайды. Соны сұрайын деп едім да, сізден қандай ақыл кеңестер айтасыз осындай жастарға? Рахмет үлкен.
Рахмет сұрағыңызға. Біріншіден, мне кажется, мынау негізі бар емес, даже мынау сіз PhD оқисыз ғой, бұл ең маңыздысы humility, да. То есть мен кім? Мен жай ғана бір жүрген адам. Менің біреуден кетіп бара жатқан там, асып бара жатқан ондай жоқ. Көбінесе адамдар PhD, магистратура оқып келеді ғой Қазақстанға. Ең бірінші ойлайтыны, мен енді, уже доктор наукпын. Менің айлығым кем дегенде 2 миллион теңгеден болу керек. Менің лауазымым кем дегенде директор департаментадан болу керек. Көбісі солай ойлайды да. Ол барьер да. Ең бірінші қандай жұмыс болады, сонымен бастап кетеді. Ең бастысы сол. Қарапайымдылық, кішіпейілділік. Мне кажется, сіз мысалы қандай да бір білімді оқыған кезде де солай да. Сіз мен білемін десеңіз, сіз ешнәрсе үйренбейсіз. Өйткені бәрін білесіз. Сізге ғылым қонбайды миыңызға. Бұл жерде де сондай да, жұмыс деген кезде де ең бірінші қарапайым болу керек. Ең бірінші сол. Екіншісі, кәдімгідей ресерч жасап, жасадыңыз ғой PhD кезінде. Сондай ресерч жасап, narrow down жасау керек та, қандай компанияларда мен жұмыс істегім келеді. Компанияларды таңдағаннан кейін, қандай департаменттерде сол компаниялардың ішінде жұмыс істегім келеді. Ол департаменттердің директорлары кім? Вице-президенті кім? Оған мен қалай шыға аламын? LinkedIn арқылы, таныстар арқылы, біреу таныстырсын, досымның ағасы екен. Сондай да Қазақстанда. Сол арқылы бірінші, сондай, кәдімгі narrow down жасау керексіз да. Сіз білу керексіз да, қай жерде жұмыс істегім келеді, кім болып жұмыс істегім келеді. Үшінші, ең маңыздысы, олардың қандай проблемалары бар. Ол проблеманы мен қалай шешемін? Сіз ол кісіге контакт жасаған кезде, бірден pitch жасайсыз да. Сіздерде мынандай проблемалар болса, мен осылай шешемін, оны мен шешімін осылай көріп тұрдым. Бірден сіз біреуге, маған мысалы біреу келсе, менің проблемамды білсе, ұсыныс болса, менде несі болса қалай шешетінін, мен оны неге жұмыс қалмаймын. Мен жұмыстарды негізінен солай таптым да. Мен методологиям сондай болды. Бірақ сіз өзіңіз білу керексіз да, нақты білу керексіз өзіңіз. Сіз өзіңіз нақты білмесеңіз, сізге даже андай арабтарда мынандай не бар, атасөзі бар. Кораблю, который не знает свой пункт, даже попутный ветер не поможет. Сіз final destination білмесеңіз, даже headwind сізге көмектеспейді. Сіз екеуі білмейсіз да өзіңіз. Бұл мынандай не сияқты да, сіз мысалы футбол ойнап жатсыз да, сіз бірақ білмейсіз, за какую команду играете, какой позиции играете. Кім сізге пас береді? Сізге ешкім пас бермейді. Сондықтан нақты
позицияны анықтап алу керек дейсіз ғой.
Нақты. Сол
рахмет үлкен.
Рахмет, Жаке, сұрағыңызға. Өте орынды сұрақ. So just briefly, why we're using although most of us are Kazakh, but we're using English language since we are international communities. That's why we're trying to hold the standard. Some of you may ask this question. So with that, I really want to appreciate Dr. Bulekbay's experience sharing with us, and really appreciate everyone that joining this Sunday. And lastly, want to give the speech to Professor Serik Mirmanov, and maybe he want to add something before we end this session. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So I would like to add just a few words before we finish. So first of all, I'm impressed by the insights which was given about oil industry, but not only from industry part, but from scientific part. I think it's very, very important to understand what's happening. And I think another very important part that you are as a role model for many young people, we can see from the questions. And from me personally, I really like your very kind smile. I think that everyone could understand I could look like without stopping. So please keep smiling, and please be a leader of energy around the world, and please continue to be a role model for our young generation. Thank you so much.
Aslan Mirza, do you have anything to add? If not, I will close the session.
Thank you again for hosting and inviting. Yeah, I'm not a good role model, so don't please take me as a role model. Yeah. I'm not the right person.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Aslan Mirza, appreciate your time, your experience. So today we had the Tech Talk series. It's a monthly event that we host speakers working in the section of science, technology, and global strategy.